And let's get you the latest now on the world's largest democratic election in India. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi filed his nomination papers for the 2024 Lok Sabha elections from Uttar Pradesh's Raebareli seat on Friday. The constituency will go to the polls in the fifth phase of the general elections on the 20th of May. His mother, Sonia Gandhi, recently vacated that Lok Sabha seat when she became a member of the Rajya Sabha. Sonia Gandhi, a four-time member of parliament from Raebareli, won't contest the Lok Sabha elections this time. Dinesh Pratap Singh of the BJP is pitted against Rahul Gandhi. Gandhi family loyalist Kishori Lal Sharma filed his nomination papers from Amethi, the seat that Rahul Gandhi had lost to the Union Minister Smriti Irani in 2019. Congress leader Raj Babbar also filed his nomination papers from the Haryana Gurgaon seat for the Lok Sabha. The BJP has fielded Rao Indrajit Singh from the constituency. He is the sitting MP. Haryana votes on May 25 in all the 10 Lok Sabha seats there. To garner support for the BJP candidate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a public rally in the eastern state of Jharkhand. The party has fielded the sitting MP Geeta Kora, who recently switched to the BJP from the Congress from the Singhbhum Lok Sabha seat, and the Union Minister Arjun Munda from the Khunti seat. Earlier in the rally, the Prime Minister had said, he had held 3 rallies in the eastern state of West Bengal, and addressing a public meeting in Bardhaman, Durgapur, the Prime Minister said that the Congress's biggest leaders, they are not up to the fight in Uttar Pradesh, with Rahul Gandhi not daring to contest from Amethi and hence seeking refuge in Raebareli.
मैंने कहा था इनकी सबसे बड़ी नेता चुनाव लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं करेगी, वो डर के मारे भाग जाएगी और वो भाग करके राजस्थान गई और राजस्थान से राज्यसभा में आई और हुआ भी यही। मैंने पहले ही बता दिया था कि शाहजादे वायनाड में हारने वाले हैं और हार के डर से जैसे ही वायनाड में मतदान समाप्त होगा वो दूसरी सीट खोजने लग जाएंगे और अब दूसरी सीट पर भी उनके सारे चेले चपाटे कह रहे थे अमेठी आएंगे, लेकिन अमेठी से भी इतने डर गए वहां से भागकर अब रायबरेली में खोज रहे हैं रास्ता। ये लोग घूम कर सबको कहते हैं डरो मत, मैं भी आज उन्हें कहता हूं और बड़े जी भर के कहता हूं, अरे डरो मत, भागो मत।
Well, the senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah is doing marathon campaigning in Maharashtra and Karnataka. He held election rallies in Sangli and Ratnagiri in Maharashtra. Earlier, he met the party workers in Kolhapur and addressed election workers there about strategies. Later, addressing a rally in Chikodi Lok Sabha constituency in Karnataka, Amit Shah hit out at Rahul Gandhi for filing his nomination papers from Raebareli and said that the BJP's Dinesh Pratap Singh will win with a huge margin. The Dhubri Lok Sabha constituency in Assam is poised for a 3-way contest in the upcoming general elections. The electorate of Dhubri will cast their votes on May 7 to determine the outcome of the triangular contest. Let's look at this report from Tapas Bhattacharya. Assam's Dhubri constituency has witnessed numerous transitions, from Congress stronghold to the emergence of the AIUDF under the leadership of Badruddin Ajmal. The constituency has seen power ebb and flow through the hands of political titans. At the centre of this electoral theatre stands Badruddin Ajmal, a figure synonymous with both political prowess and controversy.
यहाँ जो डेवलप हुआ Whatever development has happened here, it was done by the Narendra Modi government. The Chief Minister also played a role in this. An international port was also developed here. The BJP government also reopened the closed airport here.
In the upcoming elections, Dhubri finds itself at a crossroads, torn between its historical affiliations and the winds of change blowing through its demography. With a majority Muslim population, the constituency's dynamics are shaped by the delicate interplay of identity politics and socio-economic aspirations.
Every human being who live in Dhubri, they are going to outside city to work. And in Dhubri, the major problem is that we have industry, but it will be closed, mass factory. It will only taken by ITC. Mainly, we want the factory should be restarted, and if it is restarted, then the maximum unemployment problem in Dhubri, it will be solved. And second one is Rupshi Airport, which has been on now because flight is not smoothly running.
Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi took on AIUDF Supremo Badruddin Ajmal on his home turf Dhubri to campaign for the Congress's Rakibul Hussain, who's the tallest minority leader in the state Congress. AGP, a constituent of the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance in Assam, is contesting from Dhubri, one of Assam's 3 Muslim-majority Lok Sabha seats, and Barpeta as part of the alliance. The going won't be easy for the AGP's Javed Islam.
The common public here has 2 main problems: education and development. The reason that the sitting MP did not do anything, development work here.
The BJP is contesting 11 out of 14 seats in Assam, while its ally AGP is contesting 2 seats, Barpeta and Dhubri.
Amidst the political maneuvering and electoral rhetoric, the voices of Dhubri's electorate resonate with hopes and aspiration for a better future. For every voter, the stakes are high as they cast their ballot in a contest that will shape the destiny of their constituency. With Camperson Naveen, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Dhubri, Assam.
Britain's opposition Labour Party won a parliamentary seat in northern England on Friday and also control of several councils, inflicting heavy losses on the governing Conservatives to pile more pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. The thumping victory set the tone for what will be a closely watched 2 days of local results before a national election this year, which polling shows could put Labour leader Keir Starmer in power and also end 14 years of Conservative rule. Blackpool South was the only parliamentary seat up for grabs after the Conservative lawmaker quit over a lobbying scandal, and Starmer was quick to say that it was a vote that mattered. And DD India's Ollie Barrett now joins us live from London with more on these developments. Ollie, how bad are the results turning out to be for the ruling Conservatives?
Pretty bad, Mark. It's very difficult to put a positive spin on these results for the Conservatives. They are nonetheless trying to do so, and they will point you towards a win in the mayoralty race in Tees Valley from their candidate Ben Houchen, the incumbent. That is an important area of the country for the Conservatives. It's part of that so-called red wall of working class seats in the north of England that the Conservatives won so much of in 2019, and to retain their majority would have to also do well in the next general election. But even that isolated example is difficult for the Conservatives, because the Labour Party will tell you that actually the swing in that particular race away from Ben Houchen, even though he won, would illustrate a scenario in which the Labour Party might end up winning all of the parliamentary seats in that area if and when a general election happens later this year. So there are lots of reasons for the results that we are looking at to be very depressing indeed for Conservatives, and particularly Conservative MPs looking ahead to the next general election at some point later this year. The Labour Party will tell you that this is a significant set of results, that the swing away from the Conservatives is about as good as they could have hoped for. One other area of concern for the Conservatives is that the small Reform Party has made significant gains in some of these local election results. Now, if that were to translate into a general election as well, then that could create further real headaches for the Conservative Party, that right of centre Reform Party putting up a significant fight in this round of results. So as I say, it's very hard to find grounds for optimism for the Conservatives in the results that we've seen so far.
Oli, you said that there are several reasons for the loss. Give us a few of them.
Well, it depends where you look and it depends who you talk to. Now, bear in mind that these are local elections, so actually in a lot of these council races and mayoral races and police commissioner races, it will actually come down to local people voting on local issues, whether their bins are being cleared away in time, whether the potholes in the roads are being fixed in a timely manner, whether they feel that the local police force is tackling local policing issues in the way that it should be. But it's also clearly the case that there is a national swing towards the Labour Party which is going on, which is being reflected in these local results. Some of that is to do with fatigue from voters who've seen the Conservative Party in power at Westminster in one form or another since 2010, and at this stage in the electoral cycle it is often the case that opposition parties are doing well, certainly doing better than the incumbent party. The Labour Party will tell you that it's because of government failures on a number of issues, from the economy to the environment to crime to defence. They will say that that's part of the reason that they are doing well, and they will also say that they are putting forward an optimistic vision for the country ahead of the next general election. The Conservatives will say it's just a difficult point in the electoral cycle, that they did very well in similar elections in 2021, and so this is a dropping away from what was a high point for the party. And Rishi Sunak today, the Prime Minister, insisting he is focusing on the job in hand, and he hopes that the economy will now turn before the election, the general election is held. He hopes that his policies on immigration will start to make inroads with the voters as well before that election takes place. But the political landscape at the moment here in the UK currently looking very, very difficult indeed for the Conservatives and the Prime Minister.
Thanks very much. Oli Barrett from London. Now, India slammed Pakistan as Islamabad's envoy tried to provoke New Delhi. Speaking at the United Nations General Assembly session on culture of peace, the Indian envoy to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, said that Pakistan harbors a most dubious track record on all aspects. Kamboj's statement came after Pakistan's UN envoy Munir Akram made some remarks against India.
Choose to set aside the remarks from a certain delegation which not only lack decorum but also detract from our collective efforts due to their destructive and pernicious nature. We would strongly encourage that delegation to align with the essential principles of respect and diplomacy that must always guide our discussions. Or is that too much to ask of a country that harbors a most dubious track record on all aspects in itself?
India and the Netherlands held the 12th Foreign Office consultations at The Hague, and the two sides, they agreed to further strengthen bilateral ties by focusing on new and emerging technologies like semiconductors and green hydrogen. They welcome progress made in various sectors, apart from discussing the way forward in priority sectors of water, agriculture, health and science and technology. Now, still to come here on DD India Live. UK's green communication cabinets are going to become charging points. Rain, floods and volcanic ash throw life out of gear for residents from Brazil to Indonesia.
The massive crackdown against protesters has been questioned across continents, particularly when the US has been preaching across the world on questions of democracy, freedom, and the right to protest.
How the social media and as well as mainstream media was censored during COVID and the elections and even during Ukraine time.
The UK is not speaking about the US, but if the same thing would have happened in India, there would have been a big polygon, a big drama and a big chatter even in the UK universities, like what is India doing?
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lin. The Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has said that his troops had taken control of 547 square kilometers of territory this year in what he called Russia's new regions, a reference to the 4 Ukrainian regions that Moscow says it has annexed. Shoigu, in remarks on Friday to senior military commanders, said that Ukrainian forces were retreating all along the front line and that Russian troops were breaking what he called a network of Ukrainian strongholds. Ukraine's top commander has said that Kiev's outnumbered troops had fallen back to new positions west of 3 villages on the Eastern Front. The UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron has promised over $3 billion annual military aid for Ukraine. This is as long as it takes, he said, as he met the President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev. And Cameron's trip, it comes days after Britain had announced its largest ever military aid package to Ukraine. He said that the Ukraine had the right to use the weapons provided by London to strike targets inside Russia.
We are your strongest supporters, and as I said to your Foreign Minister, we come not just as friends, we come as partners. How can we work together over this year, militarily, diplomatically, politically, financially, to support you in all the ways that we can? I think the package we announced was important, not just because it was the biggest package of gifted weapons that we've done so far.
Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron for his support, saying that it will provide a much-needed boost to the Ukrainian troops.
Thanks for this package, also that it's been together with the Congress decision, and I think everything has influence, so thank you very much.
But Russia has hit out at the comments made on the Russia-Ukraine conflict by the French President Emmanuel Macron and the UK Foreign Minister David Cameron. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov termed David Cameron's statement as dangerous and as a direct escalation of the conflict after the UK Foreign Secretary had said that Ukraine could use the British weapons against targets inside Russia. The Kremlin also described recent comments made by the French President Macron about a possible French intervention in Ukraine as being part of a very dangerous trend. And DD India's Dasha Chernyshova now puts all this into context for us.
Moscow insists that those statements made by the European politicians regarding the direct involvement of these European countries into the conflict in Ukraine could actually have serious implications for the entire security architecture in Europe. Moscow will obviously be watching for more statements and steps made by those countries. But what Moscow is saying at the moment is that indeed it is a very dangerous escalation. Now, we haven't had any direct threats coming from the Kremlin, except for the very fact that Moscow will continue the operation. But we also have heard from the Russian Ministry of Defense saying that Moscow is on the upper footing when it comes to the situation in Ukraine at the moment, saying that since the beginning of the year, Moscow has already taken several hundred square kilometers of the territories in Ukraine, which Moscow says it is liberating from the Ukrainian regime, as Moscow describes it. So the situation is very tense. We understand at this moment that Moscow is exhibiting the NATO weapons that have been sent to Ukraine in downtown Moscow as a powerful symbol of Moscow's military might. And Moscow says it will only continue to do so. The only way, Moscow says, to achieve the goals of what it calls its operation in Ukraine is the military one at the moment. And that's why all the weapons that the Western countries are sending to Ukraine will only actually be burning, as Moscow says, on the battlefield.
The Kremlin has asked about Russian forces deploying to an airbase in Niger, which hosts U.S. troops, and said that Russia was deploying its ties. In fact, it was developing its ties with various African countries, including in the military sphere. A senior U.S. defense official said that Russian military personnel had entered the airbase following a decision by Niger's junta to expel U.S. forces. The military officers ruling the West African countries, they have told the U.S. to withdraw their nearly 1,000 military personnel from the country, which until a coup last year had been a key partner for Washington's fight against insurgents. Insurgents who could have killed thousands of people and displaced millions more. Iran released the crew of the seized Portuguese flagged ship linked to Israel, but they remain in control of the vessel. On the release of the crew, Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian said that the release of the crew was a humanitarian act and they could return to their countries along with the ship's captain. Earlier on April 13, Iran's Revolutionary Guards seized the container ship MSC Aries with a crew of 25 in the Strait of Hormuz. A Hamas delegation is set to visit Egypt soon for further ceasefire talks in the conflict with Israel. Earlier, Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh, he discussed the ongoing ceasefire talks in separate phone calls with Egypt's intelligence chief Abbas Kamel and Qatar's Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. Top Israeli ministers met on Thursday and they reportedly discussed truce proposals and the Rafah operation. Breaking his silence on the campus protests in the United States, the president there, Joe Biden, said that order must prevail and that demonstrators don't have the right to cause chaos.
We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. In America, we respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. But it doesn't mean anything goes. It needs to be done without violence, without destruction, without hate, and within the law.
In a pilot project, UK's green communication cabinets, they are now getting greener and will be used as electric car charging points with an aim to encourage more people to buy and use electric vehicles without worrying about charging and to also reduce carbon emissions. The trial will include an app offering a variety of options for users to choose from, including real-time pricing, availability and charge speed, among others. The first charger has been installed in East Lothian in Scotland. This is for use by local residents at no cost until the 31st of May. This is part of the pilot project. In a tumultuous turn of events, various regions across the globe find themselves grappling with an onslaught of floods, storms and volcanic eruptions, wreaking havoc, leaving devastation and despair in their wake. Brazil's southernmost state of the Rio Grande do Sul, it's facing one of the worst storms they've had in recent years, prompting the state government to declare a state of public calamity. At least 21 people are missing and 5,257 have been displaced. A devastating flood continues to wreak havoc in Kenya. Around 100 tourists were airlifted from disaster points and they were rescued. They were stranded since the flood hit on April 29. Heavy rain lashed the United Arab Emirates, leading to flooding of numerous areas. The Weather Department issued an orange alert on Thursday. The rain forced the closure of schools and many offices across the country. At least 13 flights were cancelled, 5 were diverted. Schools in Indonesia's Sulawesi province were also closed during the Ruang volcano's explosion. Authorities evacuated 12,000 people from the nearby Tagulandang Island. Residents were warned of a tsunami, and a state of emergency has been declared by the local government that's effective till May 14. Emergency services and residents started to clear up the damage left by severe weather in southwestern parts of Germany on Friday morning after overnight thunderstorms, heavy rainfall and hail left many streets and basements flooded. Let's take a look at other stories making the news. India's Defence Secretary Giridhar Aramane and Indonesia's Air Marshal Doni Tofonto co-chaired the 7th India-Indonesia Joint Defence Cooperation Committee meeting in New Delhi on Friday. Both sides expressed satisfaction at the expanding scope of defence cooperation between the two countries. Many regions in India are grappling with severe heat wave conditions. The India Meteorological Department said that the heat wave conditions are likely to continue over eastern parts of the country till Sunday and over the South Peninsular part of the country till Monday. It's going to abate thereafter. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our mobile app. The mobile app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen and you can download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn from all of us here in Delhi. Thank you very much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.